Hello, and welcome to this episode of Surviving the Narcissist. This is Wanda. I'm a narcissistic abuse survivor, thriver, and an overcomer. And the mission and the goal of this channel is to help you navigate relationships with narcissists, practice self care, and to move from just being a survivor to a thriver and an overcomer. So this video is the first part of a three-part series on surviving the narcissistic family on Thanksgiving. Because some of you that are not new to my channel know that I don't believe in no contact. And the reason I don't believe in no contact is because narcissism is a family disease and is passed down from one person to another. But everybody in your family is not a narcissist or don't have narcissistic behavior. Narcissism for this channel is narcissistic behavior as opposed to diagnosing somebody as a narcissist because I'm a life coach and I'm a narcissistic abuse survivor, and that's my niche as far as recovery. But I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't have a degree. I don't have a medical degree to diagnose narcissists. I have a master's degree in social work and tons of life experiences. Um, and so we're looking at behavior. So everybody doesn't have the same behavior. Um, one moment is different roles in the family, and we talked about that in a previous video. 1 minute you can be the target, 1 minute you can be the golden child. Narcissists use other people in the family against each other, flying monkeys, which we've talked about. So if you say that I'm going to be totally non contact or no contact with my family members, well, I look at it from the viewpoint you're denying yourself a relationship with people who aren't narcissists. We're more the victim of the narcissist because in family roles, it might be a main narcissist, and I'm just using that term loosely. So it could be the mother, it could be the father. Well, everybody that's part of that family is going to be impacted by that main narcissist. So people may have different survival skills that they use. Mine was never no contact, it was low contact. Like I always lived an hour or more away from my family. I would limit how much I would come see them. I would limit the amount of information. So I would still have a relationship with them and knew what was going on in the family, but I wasn't in the direct relationship that I was exposed to their behavior every day. So that's why I'm going to give you tips for people that don't want to go no contact because they want to have relationship with their family. It's normal. We were made for relationships. So it's normal that you want to see your brothers and sisters, your family members. And Thanksgiving, to me, is the number one holiday. Because a lot of people know that there's going to be relatives there that you don't see other than on Thanksgiving. And on Thanksgiving, you can have more time with them as opposed to when you just go to funerals or graduations. Well, for one thing, you know that you have to have a plan. So your plan may be I'm going to go to the funeral, I'm going to go to the repast, I'm going to eat, and then I'm going to leave. Or I know people that they're like, well, I have food. They just go to the funeral, the cemetery, and then they're out of there. So Thanksgiving is the only holiday where it's a lot of time that you can be around your narcissistic family. Although Christmas is coming up, and what I'm going to share today, it applies to Christmas or any holiday. A lot of people, because there's presents involved and decorations, they tend not to maybe go around the narcissistic family members, because you can always use the out of. Well, I just saw you on Thanksgiving. Um, the decoration, the kids, we want to stay in our hometown and celebrate. And so that's an easier boundary to set, because you might just call and say Merry Christmas or send Christmas cards. So I'm going to start with giving you some of the tips in this video. Then the part two is going to be tips for the actual Thanksgiving day. And the third video is going to be establishing boundaries for what happens when you get home, or like after Thanksgiving or after the holiday. And I just want to remind you that I am a certified life coach, and I specialize in trauma, addiction, and narcissistic abuse. And visit my website. The information is below, www.Vision of Recovery. And I have a lot of good information. And I also offer a 15-minute free one-on-one to see if you would like to work with me. So I'm going to start by just giving you, like I said, some of the tips to use. So the first one is to think about the potential triggers and plan how you will respond. Because this is your family. They know everything about you. So even though your nieces or nephews or the younger people in the family or the people in the family don't know everything about you, they know everything about you. So personally, I'm in recovery. I'll be celebrating 20 years of recovery January 2025. But everybody in my family doesn't know I'm in recovery, because by the fact that I've been in recovery, long-term recovery for 20 years, some of my relatives aren't 20 years old, or they weren't in the family. I was clean the whole time they've known me. So you have to plan on how you're going to respond. Yes, I used to do, but I don't do it anymore. And I'm celebrating 20 years of recovery. So you have to decide how you're going to respond to the trigger. Then also, in addition to that, one of your response is your boundaries of how much contact. Because if there's a relative there that loves to um, tell your business, throw shade, pretend like it was a mistake, and things of that nature, you might just decide, I'm going to go for dessert. You know what time your family eats, and you're going to go for dessert. Or you're going to go get a plate and say, well, I already have other plans. You're going to have a quick exit strategy, because you don't want to stay there long enough for them to tell everything about you, because that is how smear campaigns work. They want to smear you. Well, if I had 20 years of recovery, why are you talking about what I used to do? And even though there's no such thing as a functional addict per se, because the disease of addiction is progressive, I never missed a Thanksgiving. And I always brought something. So a second tip is, when you have a plan, having a plan allows you to use your boundaries. So when you use your boundaries, that's self-care. And by practicing self-care and having boundaries, that will make it less likely that you'll have a trauma trigger takeover. So they call it takeovers when your trauma takes over, you start arguing, slam the door, different things happen, verbal altercations. And then what happens is they'll be like, see, I told you how that person was, because they provoke you. Because you have to always remember, when you're in contact with narcissistic family members, they're always looking for information. They will weaponize any information. So by the fact that they're looking for information, because they can use it against you, it can be part of the smear campaign, you have to remember, do not give them a lot of information. some people use the word weaponize, and that's what weaponize means. They will take anything and use it as a weapon against you. So you don't want to go to the Thanksgiving dinner and start an argument. You don't want to go to the Thanksgiving dinner and start, like I used to say, I was the type of person I would clap back. So I was always the target. So if you hit me, I'm going to hit you. If you go low, I'm going to go lower. But because this purpose of this channel is to help you go from being a survivor to a thriver to an overcomer. Well, you're still in survivor mode when you act like they act. So you don't want to do that. Number one, do not be fooled by Thanksgiving love bombing. So love bombing is when they say things to make you feel good about yourself so that you would let your guard down and start trusting them. So if they compliment you on how much weight you lost, you look good, your hair looks good, how you doing, it's good to see you, come here, things of this nature, they want to hug, be mindful that they will use that to get you to violate your own boundaries. Oh, this person seems like they changed. So even though my plan was to come and get a plate and leave in a couple hours, or to come at dessert time and leave a couple hours and catch up, I gotta go. Let me get your phone number. But because they love bombed you, oh, I'm gonna stay the whole activity. I'm gonna come help and prepare the food. I'm gonna help serve. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna hang out after dinner. We're gonna hang out together over the weekend until they leave. Because they really change. Don't be fooled. They have an agenda. They have a plan. Narcissists are very manipulative. Another thing is being careful with information. There's different type of narcissists, which I won't go into in this video. Some narcissists are very big on monitoring. So they record. They're spies. They go online, or go places where they can get those little recording devices that they put in their pocket or they put somewhere and you don't even know they're recording. Be very careful with information. Give short, polite answers. Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And then turn the question around and ask them the same question. So if they ask you questions about how your children are doing, my children are doing good. How are your children doing? Don't go into this, oh, I'm so upset. The school is calling me, they're failing, they got involved in some kind of trouble in the street or some kind of trouble going on. I don't like their boyfriend. I don't like their girlfriend. Do not give them any information that they can use against you. Because you might have just said, well, I'm not happy about their grades. And because you told them that you weren't happy about their grades, they're going to add on to the story, well, they're failing in school, they might get put out, they had a fight. They're going to add on to it because you basically gave them information that they could use. Whereas if you said that, oh, my child is fine, or they're doing okay, or you know how teenagers are, or whatever, life be life, or whatever, that's kind of like a boundary. Because you're not really giving them a whole lot of information. You're just saying, well, life has its up and downs, so life be like it. Okay. So those are short answers. Be honest, but not too honest. Because we know that we don't want to be in deception. We're around manipulative people that do love bombing, gaslighting. So to keep that from getting inside of you so that they can use all that against you, you have to be honest, but not too honest. And that's why I believe in having limited contact. Because if you have limited contact It's easier to be honest if you're there for an hour as opposed to being honest for if you're there 5 or 6 hours. It's easier to be honest if you have a plan. Well, I'm going to stay there, but I'm going to go. But the only reason I'm going to go because there's a cousin there that I haven't seen for years, and I want to get her phone number or her address. Because the purpose of the contact is to connect with people who may be like you. Because toxic families are sick as their secrets, and they have tons of secrets. So if the secret is that your family is narcissistic, well, you can't go around saying, well, you know what? I'm in narcissistic recovery. And I know that this family is like a cult. And, you use the family members as flying monkeys. They're like, well, what are you talking about? So you want to try to connect with the people that, well, maybe they're on that path to healing and path to recovery, just like you. So master manipulators use your information, honesty, and truth. And when you are too honest or hit them with truth, well, you have to realize narcissistic behavior is based on lies and deception. So they don't really know what honesty they don't really know what honesty and truth is because they don't have the capacity for that. So they will take your honesty and truth and use it as part of a smear campaign because they'll be like, well, she's the one that said that our family was a cult. Well, she's the one that said that we pit the brothers and sisters against each other. She's the one that said that they use flying monkeys. And most flying monkeys have been groomed to be flying monkeys. So what are you trying to say? You're trying to say what? Okay. So then you reinforce your role as the black sheep of the family. I'm the black sheep of the family. So you reinforce that role and give them further ammunition because you came to the Thanksgiving dinner or activity and your conversation was inappropriate. They're not interested in healing. They don't care that you're in recovery. They don't care about your spiritual awakening. They want information to use against you. And you gave them the best information because it came from you. They heard it out your mouth, and one of the narcissistic at the gathering tapes everything you say, records, is vigilant about looking at your page on YouTube. They stalk for information. So don't make it easy for them. So as I said, this is just the first video. I'm going to do another video when you're actually at the Thanksgiving event. So until next time, be blessed and happy Thanksgiving. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.